Right now, President Trump is on his way back, as you know, from a critical summit with Chinese President Xi. He is on Air Force One, making his way back to the United States. Speaking this morning on Air Force One, he made some eyebrow-raising statements, including a non-commitment on Taiwan arms sales that Congress has already approved to the tune of about $14 billion. He also talked about the Strait of Hormuz. How do you, the American people, feel about the president's handling of all these huge, important issues? And that is where CNN chief data analyst Harry Enten comes in. So just where is Donald Trump right now in the minds of Americans?
You know, we've had all of these big events that have been going on, and sometimes I think it's worth taking the 35,000 point view, right? That viewpoint from up in the sky, and we could just see it is you could see it here. You know, this is the aggregate of my aggregate of polling data that, you know, you're looking at here, and it's just a steady climb downward into the Red Sea because Trump's net approval rating hits a new low. You could see it right here, 20 points underwater, and what you just see on your screen right here is it's been a steady climb downward. You know, you go back to January of 2025. At the beginning it was +6, then -6 by May 2025, -9, -14, -15. But over the last few months, as the Iran war has taken shape, as those gas prices have jumped through the roof, Trump has hit a new low. He's at -20 points, which is the lowest point of his second term.
So you talk about this being an aggregate, so the average of what's happening. What about individual polling? What did you see?
Yeah, okay, so this is the average of polling. But I was just thinking, hey, have there been any polls recently in which Trump has not had a negative net approval rating like he does in the aggregate of polling? And you go back in time, because this really just sort of takes the cakes. Trump's negative net approval rating, every poll since March 29, 2025, that is over a year ago. You can't find a single poll in which he has anything but a net negative approval rating. That is 413 days in a row. That is more than 365. It is more than a year. Trump has been underwater, not just in the aggregate, but every single poll.
There is one thing that people have noticed, and this happens sort of not as much in his last administration, that he's done a lot of things, from tariffs to the war in Iran. It's not like necessarily things people like, but there have been a lot of moves made by this president. Hasn't it helped him at all, or it has actually done the opposite?
Yeah, exactly right. It's done the exact opposite, because you see this every single poll for over a year, 413 days. And you go to yourself, you know what the most important thing is when it comes to presidential politics? Pretty much all the time. It's the economy, smarty, right over there. And you just look right at this and you say, the net effect on your personal finances. The best of the group is the tax law, right? That's 16 points underwater. How about tariffs? 49 points underwater. How about the Iran war? That effect on your finances? 67 points underwater. No wonder Trump is underwater in every single poll. No wonder he's hitting new lows in the aggregate. Because when it comes to the economy, the reason he won a second term, all of the signature pieces of either legislation or events, he is underwater by a ton. I mean, 67 points underwater. Whoosh.
Yeah, that's because people are paying $4.50 plus a gallon average. That's part of it. Gas prices are killing our budgets. The national average for gas has risen to $4.52 a gallon. That is $1.33 higher than it was last year at this time. You aren't the only one that's frustrated, it turns out, and worried. Gas station owners say they too are struggling with this. Joining me now is Chris Bambury, a gas station owner in Sonoma Valley, California. His family has been selling gas in the valley for more than 100 years. Pretty incredible. That is a very long time. So I got to ask you first, what are you charging for regular unleaded in California right now?
Oh, we're about $6.40 a gallon for regular unleaded.
Whew. All right. Your family has been in the gas business for more than 100 years. That means that you were around your family was around during the gas shortages of the Carter years. Give me a sense of what this gas spike now looks like for you, what it means.
The most volatile we've ever seen. So my father lived through that definitely, and was operating during the Carter years and the long lines and running out of product and a lot of challenges then. But this has been so volatile with the up and down. You really can't comprehend, where it's going to go. One day it's coming down, next day back up. So most volatility we've ever seen in my lifetime in the industry.
That's saying something for a family that's been through this for 100 years, and you've been around for a bit, just watching all this happen. Look, as drivers, when we pull up to the gas station, we tend to look at the prices and blame y'all a little bit and say, like, what are these gas stations, like, what are they doing charging this money? Do you benefit at all from high gas prices?
No, our industry fares worse, and we never like high gas prices. Customers really do not like the prices high. They come in, they're much more upset about where the market's at and how much it hurts their pocketbook. Our industry gets even more compressed and competitive when it's higher prices. Just really for the customers are looking around shopping, and just it's a much tougher industry to deal with when prices are high.
What are the margins like for you? Because you have to deal with the sort of the wholesale gas price and then pass some of that on to the consumer, obviously. What are the margins there for y'all?
They are definitely compressed. Like I said, when the market is high, we again see they're much more livable and fair margins when prices are low, but not faring well as at all during now with the current high prices.
Just quickly, first of all, I've always wanted to know the answer to this question, so now you're getting it. When you are going to get for gas, and there are two gas stations right across from each other on the corner, and one is 10 cents higher than the other, how is that decided? Is it the company that you're dealing with, whether it's Exxon or BP, or is it something else?
No, everybody independently. We all set our own pricing as independent operators. You can choose to be more competitive, maybe choose to be higher priced slightly and offer more value, more services for your customers, like more staff. So it's all very, very dynamic, and really not at all anything as far as setting or doing any pricing together.
Okay, understood. I know you're going through it. A lot of people are. That $6.40 a gallon was hard to swallow. I think I just got hiccups from hearing that number, and I know it's making you nervous too. Chris Bambury, thank you so much for coming on and walking us through all that, explaining it.
From the gas pump to the grocery store, higher prices are weighing on Americans' wallets.
Even when you go to the grocery now, it's very scary. Because before with the $10, you could have your lunch. But now, everything more expensive.
New data released this week showed for the first time in 3 years, Americans' paychecks no longer outpaced inflation. And as for grocery prices, those rose more than 0.5% last month. That is the most grocery prices have increased over a 1-month period in nearly 4 years since August 2022. Joining us now is Stu Leonard Jr., CEO of Stu's Grocery Store. Stu, it's always great to have you on. Looks like a beautiful day where you are. I want to start by asking you what you are personally seeing at your stores and what products are being hit the hardest.
Well, I think the gentleman you just had on says it all. You're just hearing from customers all the time, prices are up on grocery. Now, first of all, we get targeted a little bit. I mean, it's Stu Leonard's. It's like, you're the culprit or you're making extra money. We're not. Just as an example, in the morning, I got a phone call yesterday from our farmer down in Florida with all the tomatoes, watermelon. And he said, what, Stu, it's costing me $2,000 more to send a tractor trailer from Florida up to your stores in New York, Connecticut, New Jersey. And then I go down on the store floor and a customer comes up and says, I just filled my Suburban up. It was $50 more than it did cost me. So what do? I can't raise prices over here. But then again, I got my farmers in Florida telling me their labor costs have gone up and the fuel prices have gone up. So we're stuck in the middle a little bit. What I've done basically is ask a farmer in Florida if I could split the difference with him, and he pays half of the freight and I pay the other half. And that's been working out so far.
We're just a week or so away, Stu, from Memorial Day weekend. What do you think this all might mean for families looking to celebrate the holiday with a backyard barbecue? Do you anticipate this continuing into the summer months as well?
Now, well, you know what? With the barbecue coming up, you know what that's about? You're getting some hot dog and hamburger buns. You're going to have, of course, you got some great hamburgers. Okay, this is only about $4 or $5 a pound right now. But you know what? You know, one way you can save money is here's like a ribeye steak. We just we just had our ranchers back from the Midwest, and this is what they wanted to eat. But this is really expensive right here. You know, so if you want to save money, go to the hamburger right there and do that. You also have hot dogs. And the other thing, Wolf, you mentioned you had some salmon last night. Check this guy out right here, okay? This is about $10 a pound. You know, how's that guy? Look at, he's my little buddy there.
30 pounds?
That's a 30-pound salmon, and you know, we'll cut it fresh, but that's about $10 a pound for fresh salmon. Beef is up in the $15 to $16 to $17 a pound. Chicken, I talked to Jimmy Perdue from Perdue Farms yesterday. That's come down. He's noticing a spike in customers moving from the higher priced proteins like meat down to lower price like chicken. So he's seeing an increase in sales at Perdue Farms.
Interesting. And, you know, you were mentioning earlier that the people who bring the food up to you, the truck drivers and so forth, and those companies are battling the higher gas prices. And so you're trying to help them out. But also customers are also dealing with these rising gas prices, and that could be affecting their buying habits at the grocery store. How else is high fuel costs hitting your business? What are you hearing from customers?
Well, you know, fuel touches every part of food. Even from fertilizer that's stuck over in the Strait of Hormuz right now, you know. I mean, that is coming over, you know, needs energy to get here. You look at the diesel that the farmers have to put into their tractors. And right now, this is like prime time for a lot of our beautiful East Coast fruits and vegetables right now. So, you know, you're seeing fuel touch everything. That's a big driver. My fingers are crossed that we're going to work this fuel problem out. We're going to see fuel prices drop. When they do that, we'll see food prices drop, but not back to where they were, you know, just after COVID, because a lot of labor costs have gone up, you know, along the way also.
The salmon I had last night, Stu, was delicious, by the way. Stu Leonard Jr., as usual. Thank you very much for all you do. Thanks very much for joining us.
I'm coming to visit you.
All right, I love that salmon.
How does this? That seems like a lot. I want to know what went into it.